If you love history, music, and Bob Dylan, a story in this Sunday's Desert Sun is a must-read by the one, the only Bruce Fessier.
Yeah. Hi, Joe. Good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you. We have missed you so much because you bring such context and just have a way of getting the story across in your own style. Now, why did you decide that you were going to write a piece for the Desert Sun now?
Well, mainly because Bob Dylan is turning 80 years old on Monday, and I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan. And I came into contact with a guy who had a very unusual experience with Bob Dylan over a period of 4 years. That was one of the most pivotal 4-year periods in Bob Dylan's life. It was career-changing and it was life-changing. And this guy had such unusual access to Dylan. He not only worked for Dylan, but he became friends with Dylan and wound up taking him to these unusual places like the Ramona Bowl, the Ramona Pageant on the other side of our San Jacinto Mountains here, and the Renaissance Fair, and the Jazz Club. And so he developed this unique perspective. My story talks about what an intense person he discovered that Bob Dylan really is.
So this is really a story of happenstance and circumstance, right?
Yeah, actually, this guy, Marty Newman, has lived in Palm Springs since 1976, but he was living in the Agoura Hills, I believe, in 1974. And he had a girlfriend who was working at a store in Beverly Hills. And this guy, Marty, he's kind of a craftsman. He has a family history in textiles, and he made this jacket for his girlfriend. And his girlfriend wore it to work one day, and this woman comes in and goes, "Where did you get that jacket?" And she says, "Well, my boyfriend Marty Newman made it for me." And she goes, "Do you think that he could make one for my husband?" And so she said, "Sure." And this woman gave her card to this woman, and she gave it to Marty, and Marty actually delivered it to this house in Malibu. And he gets there, and Bob Dylan opens the door, and he had no idea he was delivering this jacket to Bob Dylan. But he walks in there, and he sees this painting in the entryway, and it's an abstract. And Bob Dylan didn't sign it, but one of the things that Marty learned is that Bob is not very communicative verbally, but he gives these cues. And he kind of learned from talking to him that Bob Dylan had actually painted this work, his abstract. And Marty was so taken by the painting, Bob Dylan gave it to him. And he resisted, but he said that Bob insisted that he have this painting because he loved it so much. And that they connected, they bonded over their love of art, their love of costumes. Bob wound up wearing that jacket on the cover of his Basement Tapes LP, which came out in 1975. From that meeting and that meeting of the minds, they developed this relationship where he went on to work for 4 years on this house in Malibu.
What was your fascination with Dylan, and did you ever meet him?
No, I never met him, but I saw the concert that was so life-changing. He had not performed for 8 years. He was still releasing albums. They weren't some of his best albums, but they were good albums. He has these lines that people live their lives by, and certainly they're pieces of philosophy in his songs that I have found so meaningful to me. Whenever I'm having a problem at work or with some deal that I've been working on since I left the Desert Sun that doesn't go right, I think of his line, "There's no success like failure, but failure is no success at all."
I can't wait to read the piece Sunday, and it is so good to have you back.
My pleasure, Joe. See you later.